Hi, I'm Jenna Stapleton. Thank you for allowing me to introduce my husband, Walker Stapleton. Most of the time, you'll hear an introduction about all of the things a person has done in his or her professional or elected life. But I'd like to introduce you to the man I know and love, Walker Stapleton, the husband and father. After all, it's really the character of that man that will truly tell you what kind of governor he will be. I married Walker because I wanted to marry someone with a bigger faith than I had. I had come to my faith later in life, and I wanted to marry someone who would lead our family in faith and faithfully, and Walker has done that. He's the one who makes sure we go to church on Sunday, and it's Walker who prays with our kids every night at bedtime. He's truly a man of amazing faith. Who else would buy a puppy for his 3 little kids before embarking upon a gubernatorial campaign? When Walker and I talked about his running for governor, we made a promise to each other that we would focus on family and the state of Colorado, and that Sundays would be sacred just for family. Walker has kept his promise even when it was tough, even when it was tough because of travel or the demands of being treasurer and running for office. He takes time to work with our son, Craigie, on baseball, and even plans our daughter's birthday parties, replete with real-life princesses. He even makes breakfast every weekend morning for the kids so I can get a couple of extra minutes of sleep, or hours if I'm lucky. If you want someone who values families, then pick someone who values their own. He often says he's running for governor because of our 3 kids, and every Colorado kid, and he means that. Our kids adore him, and so do I, and I think you will too. Please welcome my husband, Walker Stapleton. Thank you.
Well, good morning. Today is a beautiful day to be a conservative in Colorado. Today is a great day to be a Christian in Colorado. But the worst kept secret in this room that all of us know is that every single day is a great day to be a Christian. If you are not from Colorado, welcome to our fair state. I'm Walker Stapleton, the treasurer of Colorado. I'm joined here by my son, Craig, who is 10 years old. And thanks to my wife, Jenna, who literally makes it possible for me to get out of bed each and every morning. You know, faith is really important to my family because it gives us a focus in life, a centeredness in life. And I am proud to say that all of my kids, my oldest is Craig at 10, our middle daughter, Colette, who we call Coco, is 6, and Olivia is 4. All of my kids have a relationship to God through prayer. Each and every day. And that's important to me. And there is no greater gift I can be given as I travel around this state to campaign for the future of this state, for my kids and all of the kids in Colorado, than to have somebody come up to me and say, you know what, I'm praying for you. It is the most meaningful thing that can ever happen on a campaign trail. It is the greatest gift that I can be given. I'm running for governor because the Colorado that I want my kids to inherit is hopefully going to be one that is filled with abundant economic opportunity and abundant freedoms. And when we talk about freedoms, we talk about religious freedoms, and how great that our Supreme Court recognized that nobody in this life deserves to be discriminated against, including people of faith. I am privileged and honored to now be the longest-serving statewide elected Republican, and I've tried to be a common-sense conservative while in office. The job of treasurer has given me the blessings of being on the front lines of every important economic policy battle we fought in this state. A couple years ago, I led the effort statewide to defeat Amendment 66, which was the largest proposed tax increase in Colorado history, because the money wasn't going to end up in the classrooms for our kids where it belonged. Just about 2 years ago, I was the leader of the effort, co-chairman of the effort with Governor Ritter to defeat a really bad public policy idea for a state-run single-payer health care system that would have bankrupted our state through the associated payroll taxes and capital gains taxes on business. Thank you very much. And we beat that 4-1. And even though I was the co-chair of that effort statewide with a former Democratic governor of Colorado, every single candidate on the other side who's running for governor supports a single-payer health care system as a future of health care in Colorado, and I couldn't disagree more. I've also been the longest and the largest voice for reforming our public pension system because it continues to drain dollars away from our classrooms in cities all across Colorado and is the biggest debt that we face in state government. And unless we fix it, we are not going to have the future for education that all of our kids deserve in the state of Colorado. This election, like never before, Colorado is facing a crisis of leadership, a crisis of values, because we are going to have a stark choice in this election. I firmly believe that Jared Polis is going to be the nominee in a few weeks on the Democratic side. And Jared Polis, as far as I can tell, is literally running for governor to end the future of our energy industry in Colorado with renewable standards that economists tell us will cost at least $45 billion. We'll take 230,000 jobs from Colorado and $32 billion annually out of our economy. I'm for all forms of energy. I'm for solar, I'm for wind, I'm for natural gas, and I'm for traditional oil. But I'm not for subsidizing alternate forms of energy that will cause hardworking Coloradans to see their energy bills go through the roof and businesses to leave our state. Jared Polis adamantly believes that a government takeover of your health care is the best and only option. I say that that will restrict health care even more for young people starting their careers. It will make access to quality care more difficult. It will make the affordability of that care more difficult. It will make choice non-existent. And we cannot have that as the future of health care in the state of Colorado. We just can't. And furthermore, as many of you probably know, last week, Congressman Polis introduced legislation to repeal President Trump's tax plan. President Trump's tax plan, which I endorsed in December, will give tax relief to 75% of the people in Colorado. It will give tax relief to a family making $60,000 and reduce their federal tax bill from $1,700 to $100. It will repeal the individual mandate for health care that passed, that last year 120,000 Coloradans plus had to pay a tax because they couldn't afford health insurance, and they got nothing in return. And out of those Coloradans, 80% of them have a household income of $50,000 or less. The people that can least afford it, taxed by the federal government, and no health care in return. And all that is gone because of the president's tax policy. And if Jared Polis has his way, he will simply raise our taxes through the roof and turn us in to California without the water. And we cannot allow that to happen. I am here to fight for the future of this state, and I need your help. Ballots went out on Tuesday. Please tell your friends and neighbors. I have an abiding faith and love for my family and my 3 kids. My other 2 daughters are swimming. That will go away. That will never go away, no matter what office I have in life. It is the greatest joy and the greatest privilege to be a husband and a father to my 3 kids, and it is the proudest title I will ever have. Thank you so much for your faith, for your defense of freedom, and God bless each and every one of you. Thank you very much.
Meet you down at the chair. All right. Well, thank you for agreeing to meet with me, and let me ask a few questions of you. Walker, one thing I'd like to know, and maybe the rest of the audience would like to know, is if you're elected governor in 4 years, when you look back, what's the success you're most proud of, or the 1 or 2 things that you've accomplished, and how did you get them done?
Well, I think Colorado has so many challenges that we're going to face in the future, from healthcare. How do we make Medicaid sustainable? We've expanded Medicaid to 600,000 people in Colorado and have no idea how to pay for it on an ongoing basis out of our budget. I think it is going to be incumbent on the next governor to figure out how to improve access and affordability to health care for Coloradans and do it in a fiscally responsible way that doesn't bankrupt our state. And so I think that the governors are going to play an outsized role in that. And I can't wait for that challenge. As somebody who ran a public company in the real world, in the private sector, I am up for that challenge. I think it's a challenge that somebody who has business experience is uniquely qualified to take on, and I think it's going to be really important to the future of the state. As are our infrastructure needs. We need to figure out how to deal with our pension system. When I started as treasurer, the budget was $18 billion in Colorado. Now, nearly 8 years later, the budget is $29 billion, and the two largest expanders of our budget are out-of-control Medicaid expansion and our entitlement system. And we need to get both of those in line to have the economic future that our kids and grandkids and future generations deserve.
Okay, thank you. Well, speaking of the budget, I think we spend, what, about a fourth of our budget on K through 12 education? Is that right? And our Colorado high school graduation rate ranks 46th in the nation on a recent U.S. News report. So how do we fix that?
So Amendment 23, which my predecessor in the Treasurer's office put in place, has had a corrosive impact on K through 12 education, in my opinion. And that's because it has put our education funding on autopilot at inflation plus 1% for a decade, and then the plus 1% went away. And if you look anecdotally, Washington, D.C. being the most extreme example, just because you're the best funded from a funding standpoint doesn't mean you are from an achievement standpoint. And Sean Boyd with CBS Denver did a report a couple weeks ago where she said every student in Colorado is getting approximately $13,000 of funding. The average public school class is 25 students, so that's $325,000 doing the math per public school class. The average teacher in a public school class makes about $52,000, $325,000 of funding, $52,000 to the teacher's salary. Where does the rest of the money go? I've asked the question all around Colorado. It's not meant to be a hypothetical question, but people have not been able to give me an answer. And actually, if you look statistically, Heidi, and Colorado Succeeds has done great work on this, over the last 10 years, you'll find that the number of students in Colorado has grown by about 7 or 8%, the number of teachers by about 10 or 11%, and administrative costs have grown by 23%. That is priorities that are out of whack. And when you're siphoning off more than 20% of every dollar we pay a teacher to backfill liabilities in a bankrupt public pension system, those dollars are not going to the teacher or into the classroom where they belong. Right. And we have to structurally fix this to get the education system that all of us want and deserve for our teachers and, most importantly, our kids in Colorado schools.
All right, thank you. We have about a minute and a half left. This is a very friendly crowd, but for a strong conservative candidate, if you win the nomination in the primary, how do you convince our liberal friends or the purple part of Colorado that conservative principles are the right way to go and that we need a shift?
Because this election is going to be about economic opportunity. How do we bring more affordable housing to people that are young professionals starting their career in Colorado? How do we fix our economic infrastructure issues so that we can be competitive as a state going forward in the future? How do we make our healthcare system, how do we improve the access and affordability of that system for young people? I can't wait for the opportunity to talk to people that are pragmatic Democrats, independents, conservatives, and anybody who will listen about the economic opportunities that I want to bring to the future of Colorado. And guess what? Competition in public education works, and no family should have to be condemned to a failing school that the state mandates because of their economic circumstances. We need to take the model that Denver has perfected of charter schools under Tom Boasberg, who's a dyed-in-the-wool liberal but understands that charter schools works, and we need to spread it all throughout Colorado, and I can't wait for that opportunity as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you for talking with me.
Thank you.